In response, tonight, Democrats in Congress are preparing to introduce legislation that would include a ban on chokeholds and create a national police misconduct registry. The crowd today stretching for blocks, demonstrating on top of that new mural ordered by the D.C. mayor, the same street that just days ago was cleared by force to make way for the president's photo op.
Now walking down the street right on top of that new mural, and the mayor telling us she felt it was important to send a very clear message that kind of violence and force we saw right here earlier this week never happens again.
We saw something that I hope to never see in my lifetime in America, and that's the United States federal forces moving against American people in peaceful protest in the nation's capital.
Courtney Walker brought her 2 small sons to witness this history, telling us their lives could depend on it.
This is worth the risk because if I didn't come down here today, their lives are in danger every day. So it's worth the risk to come down to make sure that change is effective.
This peaceful protest, also a celebration.
The more people that are here means the more people that realize this affects everybody.
Allison Jennings has been here all week. She tells us it's the conversations happening in this crowd that will spark true change in this country.
And that's what this is doing. It's teaching people about other things and showing them where the change needs to be made.
Just the conversations that are happening right here.
Conversations that are happening, absolutely.
All right, Mary Bruce joins us now from Washington, where the protests are still ongoing. So far, Mary, this is a very different type of protest in more ways than one from what we've seen in the nation's capital.
Yeah, Tom, unlike most large protests that we see here, there is no one main organizer at this event. This is a true grassroots movement, united by that common belief that Black Lives Matter. The tone here today is a joyous one. This is part protest, part block party, a diverse crowd here coming together to cause change. Tom.
Mary Bruce leading us off from the nation's capital tonight. Mary, thank you. Now to the growing crackdown on police officers accused of assault. 2 officers in Buffalo pleading not guilty to assault charges today. The officers injuring a 75-year-old peaceful protester, shoving him to the ground. Officers in several major cities facing allegations at the same time. Nearly 300 officers in New York City injured since protests began. Here's ABC's Zachary Quiche.
Tonight, the heavy-handed tactics used by some police are under scrutiny. 2 Buffalo police officers have been charged with felony assault less than 36 hours after 75-year-old Martin Gugino was shoved to the ground at a protest. Suspended officers Aaron Torgolsky and Robert McCabe pled not guilty. The police department originally said the man tripped and fell. Dozens of police gathering outside the court in solidarity, some applauding the officers charged.
I'm not choosing sides. My job is to prosecute those who have violated the law. Plain and simple.
The union says all 57 officers resigned from the specialized unit, some in protest of the charges and in support of the officers. New York's governor sending state police to support the department, calling the incident horrendous.
A bad police officer is the enemy of every good police officer.
Gugino, a longtime activist, remains in the hospital in serious but stable condition. Also in New York tonight, the NYPD suspending 2 officers without pay. One for this incident posted online, the officer pulling down a person's face mask in Brooklyn and hitting him with pepper spray. In Philadelphia, an officer has been charged with assault after video posted online shows him hitting a protester in the head with a baton. The police union vowing to support the officer. The majority of protests have been peaceful, but in New York City alone, nearly 300 officers have been injured since demonstrations began. One officer was stabbed in the neck. Tonight, police say the suspect faces attempted murder charges. Here in Minneapolis, where George took his final breaths, there are calls for action.
There's different ways where you can arrest people, and better ways instead of putting your knee on someone's neck or shooting someone down for no reason.
In Seattle, the police chief has banned the use of tear gas on protesters for at least 30 days and has called for a review of crowd control tactics. And a federal judge in Denver has issued a temporary restraining order limiting an officer's ability to use tear gas or fire rubber bullets.